Hello. Welcome to another episode of Reley's Career Talks, Season 2. We reach a milestone. So I'm your host, Foley.
Hi, guys. I am Rebecca. Welcome back. We're really excited to have one of our awesome guests today. She's someone that I know personally, but I want her to actually introduce herself, give you a little bit of background on what she does, who she is, and where she's located, guys. This is the first time we have someone who is not in the United States.
Mhm.
So I'm going to turn it over to Rachel to go ahead and introduce herself.
Hello. Hi, my name is Rachel Mzengi. Thank you, Rebecca and Foley, for having me on your season 2 talk of Reley Career Talks. Kind of been a fan since season 1, so I'm happy to be here.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes, and we do have a fan club too. So, yeah. So, I was gonna say. So, I always wanted to ask before we start. I always ask our guests, a very personal question. That's been, it will be a little personal, so don't get too offended. But what did you always? I'm joking. What did you always wanted to be when you were a child? What did you always wanted to be when you grew up?
Oh, it's a hard one. I think I wanted to be many things, and
Mhm.
and ironically, I am many things as a person right now.
Mhm.
So it's kind of an interesting thing. I think I wanted to be the first time was I wanted to be a doctor because
Mhm.
I always loved science, and then I wanted to be a writer because I was like a nerd of reading books
Mhm.
since I was like in second grade all the way to like high school. I loved reading books. Um, I guess I'm kind of a writer now, but not really. I write my own stories and poems and stuff, like on my diary as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, I wanted to be a doctor, I guess.
Mhm.
And now I'm completely opposite
Mhm.
of a doctor. So yeah.
Okay. And like with that being said too, I guess how did that change from when you were a child to your trajectory now, what you're doing now with your business and your career?
Um, I think like how it changed was like I wasn't really looking at the strengths because I was a person who took a high school and also my grades very seriously. I just kept into that like goal of being a doctor. So I took like AP chemistry, AP biology. But when I graduated high school, I was like, am I gonna keep doing this for the rest of my life? It's like, is this the rest of my life? And then listening to my guidance counselor telling me about medical school, I was like, you're not serious. Because like AP subjects, like almost like I think they really crushed me in high school. I did not think it was that hard, but it was actually really, really hard. But everyone was telling me, yeah, you're really smart, you can do this. But I was like, yeah, but it's not really like I want to do it. I know I can. It's hard, but I just didn't want to do it. So that's like the trajectory that changed. It's like, yes, you're good at this, but you also have to listen to yourself and your intuition. What actually do you want to do? And it took me a long time to actually figure it out. I think like I took a year where I didn't go to college. I was trying to figure out different things, like what I wanted, and I landed into like psychology, took a diploma in that, but I was like, okay, you know. And then I continued on, and then I was like, you know what, I can do business. I'm good also at marketing. I'm good at listening to people, like taking my psych, what I've learned about human behavior, and also my love of just like campaigning. I just like was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. And I started school when I was like my college degree. I think I got it when I was 23 because I started when I was 21, graduated in 3 years time instead of like the average 4 years. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. Let's keep going. But then as I continued on, I was like, oh, this is good, this is good. And then I was like, maybe this other thing also, even though it's in the same fields, like I was good at marketing, but I also wanted to do digital marketing. And then branding came about when I was taking my master's, and I was like, oh, this is another whole level. But it just kept going interesting. Like it kept going deeper and deeper and more in depth. And I was just like, I'm really discovering my talent over the years since I've been working and also I've been studying. It's been, I guess, an amazing ride, and I just want to keep going and it just like from where I came from to like being a doctor, I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
That's actually really good. I really appreciate how you told us through your journey of how, first you want to become a doctor. You realize that might not be the best path for you. And also the interesting thing you just mentioned, also taking that gap year to figure out what you wanted to do before just jumping into college. I think that's actually very interesting to hear, because most people just go into college and they're like, you know what, I'm just going to figure it out, because that's the next step and the next thing to do. So I really appreciate how you explained to us that, you know what, you were honest enough with yourself to realize that, you know what, this might not be the best thing for me at this moment. Let me figure this out. And then you started going into different things and doing that. So my question to you, you just mentioned marketing, digital marketing, and branding. You said that all the kind of similar things, but then, if you talk to like a lame person, they don't really know the difference. So can you give us like a good example or even a definition of what the differences are, so that, our viewers understand, even for our personal knowledge? Because for me, I just think branding, marketing, they're all the same thing and they just do the same. So if you can give us a little bit of a breakdown of that, I'd really appreciate it.
Okay, so marketing is using different efforts to communicate a product, a service, or like a campaign. And also marketing touches many different, let's say, channels. There is TV, there is digital. In all the facts, marketing and digital marketing are the same. It's just digital marketing is focused on a specific channel. We are developing different communications, different messages, different pillars to communicate like one overall message. And then when you get into branding, now branding is a bit of a science, I would have to say, where now you're kind of developing a personality of what let's say, your brand is or who your company is. So for example, Reley Careers, you are focusing on helping others see, pretty much like give them like a career path to understand their strengths and their weaknesses. You yourself are a brand, and as a strategist, I help you develop the story even better. So that way it can now cut across to your core target audience, and that message is super clear. Marketing is using different types of channels. Now, using the overall personality of your brand to now promote it to different types of people. So I would say it's the same, it's both, but like branding is more kind of developing the story, while marketing is just promoting that story to different places, different channels, and to different people that you're targeting.
So
that's it in a nutshell.
Oh yeah, thank you for that too. So as a marketing and branding professional too, do you currently work with in a company, or are you independent as well too? That's something I think our listeners will be interested in, your status now.
So currently, for branding wise, I work with a partner, and she's based here in Tanzania, where I help different companies here in Tanzania develop their brand strategy, which is like their voice and who they are. But in terms of like digital marketing, I'm not really into that right now. I'm focusing more onto the branding. I have done digital marketing for the past 8 years. And now I just want to stick into like one field, which is branding. But on my like day-to-day job, I work as a operations and service design manager at a bank here in Tanzania. So that's another strength of mine. I'm a person who likes to develop process, frameworks, and like just overall what do you call it, like operations, helping companies build their operations so that way they're able to operate efficiently and develop productivity within their companies. So that's more of like my other strengths, but my main focus and my love, I would have to say, would be brand strategy.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting too, because, you know, as humans too, we're creatures of habit too. So we want, you know, we want something that's very a process or operational so we can get in the habit of doing things as well too. So I've never really, it's interesting, I've never really incorporated with marketing and branding. And so that when you explained it to me, that makes perfect sense too. And I should know better because I'm a business major. Yeah.
So my question to you, Rachel, you just mentioned you're in Tanzania. So from our viewers, most of our viewers are probably here in the United States in the diaspora and things of that nature. So is there a difference in the way things are done in, I guess, an international setting? I want you to like kind of talk about that from your perspective, or if you see things being done a little bit differently, or how do you feel the process is, or in your career-wise?
I would have to say it's a bit different than the States and other places. Here, I would have to say I wouldn't say we're behind, but we're not as like caught up to the whole like messages cutting like all over your face and so many options into different things. We don't have all of that. I would have to say we have like maybe, I would have to say, okay, so like in the States, you guys have like now like over 50 telcos. But you still have your big ones, Verizon, what's that other one? AT&T, T-Mobile, and well, there's this new one. And there's this new one that actor guy came up with called Mint. And I was just like, okay, so everyone has like their own network.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But here, there's 5. And it's like, that's all you get. You get to choose. I have like 2 networks on my phone, but if you have to say, like, if you want to compare it and give yourself like a option, like a menu that you would go to a restaurant, you won't really get that here. And it's also because like, well, I would have to say economies of scale is a lot harder to penetrate. Middle class is growing here, but not as I would like say compared to in the States. A lot of people here live below the poverty line, so we also have that. I think if you even come to Tanzania, you'll see like, okay, you live in this part, but then you live in really this other part where it's like super different in terms of like access to water, access to like, let's say electricity. Even sometimes it's completely different from the States. So even working here, I would have to say I'm blessed and I'm grateful to have the opportunities that I have now. But if I have to say, like, a lot of clients who want to do brand strategy, it's kind of hard to get them here. And also because you have to teach them what branding is. Everyone thinks everyone here is a brand. Everyone thinks is a marketer here. But if you really actually look at what they're trying to communicate, there's a huge disconnect into the audience they want versus what they're actually trying to promote. So I would have to say here, a lot of people, the marketing strategies or even like human resource strategies into targeting people, into helping people, they do it for mass markets. They don't focus on specific audience. And only that's because the audience that they want to penetrate here is super small. Like a really big example for digital, 15% of the population have smartphones here, and out of our population, 60 million. So imagine 60, it's like literally the others, they don't have a smartphone. So how are you going to reach your audience as like a company? So yeah, it's a bit tough, but hopefully our governments with their efforts, they're able to increase smartphone penetration as well as internet penetration.
Yeah, that's really, really informative too. So besides Tanzania too, have you worked in other countries in the past? since your
Yeah.
career as well too, and please name them too for our
First time I worked in a marketing agency was in Malaysia. I worked for Fleshman and Hillard, and then I moved to TBWA, one of the biggest agency in the world. But unfortunately, I couldn't stay there for too long. And then I moved back here in Tanzania, where I worked for this agency, digital agency called AIM Group. After that, I moved to Spain. I lived in Barcelona for 3.5 years. Also, I was doing a lot of part-time at that time. That's where I was actually building myself up as a brand strategist, because I took this course, brand storytelling, when I was in university, and I fell in love with it. I was like, oh, wow. So I found myself a mentor, and she was helping me. So I started to build like my own portfolio, and my fellow classmates who were building their own businesses were also asking like questions. And I was like, yo, I could make money out of this. This is awesome. So yeah, I worked for this other company also called One Cowork. It's a co-working space in Barcelona. I also help them with like their branding and their communications and their marketing efforts. So yeah, and then after that, I moved to Malaysia again. I worked for, yeah. I was like, I don't know how. I was like, I just decided, you know what? It's been 6 years. Go back. Why not? It doesn't hurt. Yeah, so between living in Malaysia, I worked for this small marketing agency, and a good part about the agency was like remote. So I was in between Malaysia, Bali, and Singapore, just like flying around, helping our clients like build up their companies and create their marketing strategies and do their advertising. And then COVID hit. I had to come back. Yeah, I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna go back, because this whole COVID thing, you never knew what was gonna happen. So I was like, but it's just like stay home with the family. So yeah, I've been here ever since 2020.
Okay.
That's really nice. I really like the way that you're basically like an international citizen, moving all around and now settling back in Tanzania for the moment until you decide the next move. My question to you now is, what are your new upcoming projects that you have? Because I know, as you said, you're doing a lot of things. So could you like to share with our viewers your new upcoming projects or things that you're thinking about and things of that nature?
What new upcoming projects? Like, I only have a few. One is working with you guys. I can't wait for that. Project. Another project is working for this logistics company here, building their brand. It's like the next FedEx of Tanzania. And then I would have to say that's it. There's a lot like that's being worked on, but I really can't reveal it because I'm still trying to like convince these people they need me.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are pretty much the projects that I've been working on.
Okay. Perfect. And so my last question for you is we get a lot of people who watch our show who are entry level, who just graduating high school or college or graduate school and looking for opportunities. Some might be looking for opportunities in your field too. So what does it take for a person like you're, of course, in a manager role, and you have all these different independent stuff that you are working on? What does it take for a person to be hired by you? Anywhere, if it's an intern, employee, or mentee, or team member, what does it take for that person to join your team?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah, I guess what I look for is someone who is kind of eager to learn. There are those who just take things like as a job, and they just do it like, what do you call it, robotically. It's like, oh, this is it, I'm done. I'm like, that's it. That's all you're gonna get out of me. I think for the people that I like to work with, should want to know more, always be able to push themselves beyond their limits, because God knows I've pushed myself like mentally, also sometimes physically when I want to do something. And those are kind of like the people that I look for when I want to work with, because they are open not only to fail, but also open to succeed, as long as whatever it takes, they're able to get it done. I'm okay with that. I can see that this person is trying, and then I continue trying, and not like, and I also love like working with people who just come to me and tell me ideas, because just because they thought about it, they were thinking about it. It's not because I tasked them to do the job. It's because they are so much eager to learn, and then they're asking me questions. And I'm like, yes, I hate chasing people for things. Like, that's not my thing. I hate chasing people. I expect people to just, if they really want to do this, then they would find a way. I guess I would have to say, as like a teacher also, oh, by the way, I teach part-time. I'm not like a hand holder. I hate hand holding, because I think growing up the way I did, I wasn't really handhold in how I figured out what I wanted to do. So I kind of expect that with my students also, like to just come to me and asking questions because they are hungry for it. They want to know more, and I can do my best to help them. And I think that's the thing also with branding and marketing. It's like a lot of experimentation and a lot of discovery. You have to be open for more knowledge, and not just because someone tells you to, it's because you want to.
I really like that. I really like the way you mentioned that, eagerness to learn, making sure that you are not just doing something just to do it, and then also being more proactive and forward thinking about, what we're doing now, but how can we improve it? So I really think those are actually really good skills just for anybody in any industry. And what you just mentioned actually is kind of like a theme that we've been hearing throughout our other interviews as well. So it's really nice to hear that from your perspective as well. In order to succeed, these are the things that you have to do moving forward. So, Foley, do you have another question or?
No, I learned a lot, during this interview too, because when I was a kid, I loved this movie called Big with Tom Hanks. I don't know if you guys seen that movie, and
Yeah.
they made marketing so easy because he just came in in the firm. And it's like, oh, and when I was young, I was like, is this how marketing is? I was like, bro, I'm gonna kill it. But
Oh my
I
God.
know it's like, oh my God, it's so, and a lot of movies does that too, but there's a lot going on with branding and marketing, and I really appreciate you highlighting that as well too, that it takes a lot more psychology into it too. So yeah, I've learned a lot, and I hope our viewers learned a lot as well too.
Yeah, a lot of it has changed actually. Like, I don't know if you guys also have watched Mad Men. God, I hate that show.
Oh really?
Like, I hate that show. Like, I just hate it. And it's like a lot of guys like it only because the lead character is a man. But for me, I just hate it because like it's just it's first of all, it's misogynist, and maybe marketing back then it made sense because people are just like, oh, I see this, I believe it. Mm-hmm. Now it's like if people see this, they'll be like, what are you trying to sell me? It's like you have to like tell them a story and tell them what you're about. A lot of brands here nowadays need to be super honest because people are starting to see the bullshit, and the bullshit is coming out. So unless you're honest with your story, people will find ways to just like put you down. And I think that's why I like branding now, because we get to be more honest. And that's why brand strategy is a lot harder, because you have to come up with a story that really relates to the people that you're trying to talk to. And that is very tricky because you also don't want to put a story that really is not representing yourself, and it's not just like general. It has to be very niche, and that's why marketing now it's a lot harder than it was back then. I mean, if you hear like Netflix was like the big thing, now it's this whole controversy with Dave Chappelle thing. And I'm just like, well, we kind of saw this happening. there's always going to be a fall. Unless you stick to your story, your true brand self, you'll succeed.
So thank you so much for coming on our show today, Rachel. Is there a way, how can people reach you? How can people reach you if they want to talk to you more about what you're doing in your industry, or even get advice, even become like a mentee? How can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to me on my Instagram. That's one, Rachel-Winfrida, or they can just send me an email, which hopefully you'll put it on this post, and they can just send me an email and, ask away. I'm an open book.
Awesome. Thank you for being on our show today. This is the end of our show for today's episode.
Yes. And yeah, Rachel, thank you for coming on board, and I really appreciate it. And we'll see you later.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
So there you have it. We just finished an episode with Rachel, our brand strategist, our resident brand strategist, who's going to help us with our branding. But I really hope you guys enjoyed our episode today. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I had a great time as well too. And you can reach us at all social media platforms: Reley Career Services, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. Yeah, you can reach us at any time. Also, we do have a website where our bread and butter is our resume, career counseling, and mock interview services, where you can submit your service request to our website, and we'll answer your questions or answer your requests as soon as possible. I just want to say thank you for joining us. It's been season 2. We had some great guests too, and we have more to come.
Yes. Thank you guys so much, and have an awesome day.
All right. Take care.